channel. Thank you for watching my first video. Today, I am going to read you guys the story of King Arthur and his knights. Today I'm going to read the prologue and the first chapter of the book. I hope you guys enjoy it. The story of King Arthur and his knights, retold from the Howard Pyle original by Tanya Samorsky, illustrated by Dan Andreessen. The first book is called The Book of King Arthur. Prologue. Oh, before we get started, I just want to apologize in advance if I read the names wrong. I'm so sorry. Prologue. In ancient days, there lived a king named Arthur Pendragon, who ruled over all of Britain. In beating his enemies, Arthur Pendragon relied strongly on two men in his court. One, Merlin the Wise, who was a powerful wizard who was able to see the future. The other one, Sir Ulfius, was a noble knight who had led many great wars. King Arthur Pendragon's wife, the Channel Igraine, had two daughters from another marriage. One of the daughters, Morgana Le Fay, was a famous witch. So, Igraine had a baby boy. When Merlin came to meet the child, he stood over the baby's cradle and shut his eyes. Lord, he told Arthur Pendragon, I am sorry to tell you that I see bad things in the future. You will soon become sick with fever and die. I see your kingdom falling into great confusion Artemis and me take the baby away. We will hide him in a safe place until he is grown. Other Pendragon had great faith both in Merlin's advice and in the gifts he thought his son would someday bring to the world. And so he let Merlin and Alpheus take the child and hide him. Shortly after that, Arthur Pendragon indeed became sick and died. Just as Merlin had seen, the kingdom fell into a state of confusion. 1,000 lesser kings wanted to rule. 1,000 other knights and barons hid by the sides of side highways. From there, they attacked and robbed helpless travelers. Almost 18 long years passed like this. The land positively groaned with the trouble that lay upon it. Finally, Archbishop of Canterbury called Merlin to him. Merlin, he begged, some say you are the smartest man in the whole world. Surely you can use your gifts to find us a new king, so that we may enjoy happiness as we did in the days of other Pendragon. Merlin shut his magical eye. After a while, he spoke. My lord, he said, I am happy to tell you that I see great things in the future. This country shall soon have a new king, and he shall be even wiser and greater than was our old friend Arthur Pendragon. He shall bring order and peace where there is now confusion and war. And best of all, this new king shall be Arthur Pendragon's own flesh and blood. The Archbishop was very happy, but he was confused. Merlin, he asked, when will this new king come? And how will we know him when he arrives? How will we tell him apart from all of the others who would do anything to rule in his place? Merlin had a twinkle in his eye. Do you trust me? He asked. The Archbishop nodded. With your permission, Merlin continued, I will set into motion a grand adventure. By the time it is over, the court will know its rightful king. Merlin waved his hands, and there appeared before him a huge marble stone. When he waved his hands once more, an anvil of solid steel appeared upon the block of marble. Merlin then pushed a large blue sword into the anvil. The sword was bright and shiny. Its gold handle was carefully carved and held many precious stones, and on the blade itself were carved the following words in a letter of gold: "Whoever shall pull this sword out from the anvil shall be the rightful king of Britain." At Merlin's request, the Archbishop announced a contest to everyone in the land at Christmas. Any man who wanted to could try to pull the sword from the anvil. Whoever was able to do so would be the new king of Britain. The kingdom buzzed with excitement. Many people thought King Lot would be king. Some people thought that King Urin of Kor would be king. Others believed King Leo de Grange of Cameliard would be the one to free the sword. Still, others said that it would be the King Ryans of North Wales. When Christmas came, it seemed like the entire world had found its way to London for the contest. The highways and inns and castles were bursting with travelers, kings and lords, knights and ladies, esquires, pages, and men at arms all came to watch history being made. Looking out at the crowd, the Archbishop of Canterbury confessed his excitement. "Merlin," he said, "I would be very surprised if we could not find one person worthy of being king among all of these well-known kings and noble lords." Merlin only smiled. "My lord," he said, "you may very well be surprised. The one truly worthy person may very well still be unknown." The Archbishop thought about Merlin's words, and so starts this magical story. While Sergei fought at London town, broke his sword and was given a new sword by Arthur. Among the many worthy men who came to London for the contest was the noble knight Sir Ector of Bonmaison. Sir Ector brought in his two sons. The elder, Sir Kay, had already shown great bravery and promise. The younger, Arthur, was still a young boy of only 18. He was currently serving as Kay's esquire at arms. This was very much like a knight's assistant. Sir Ector and the boys brought with them a great staff. They had beautiful tents of green silk that had been decorated with the family crest. When they arrived at the field where the contestants were together, they were not alone. There were kings and dukes with their courts, and no fewer than 20,000 lords and ladies. There were so many flags and banners that the sky was totally hidden. Watching the scene, the Archbishop of Canterbury smiled. It was going to be an amazing event. The men would not only be competing on Christmas Day to pull the sword out from the anvil, there would also be a contest at arms to be held during the 3 days before the sword pull. To this contest, the Archbishop invited all knights who were of noble enough birth, condition, and quality to compete. Sir Kay, of course, was found fit, and he was entered into the contest. The young Arthur was very proud of his brother. He was happy to carry Kay's flag before him onto the field of battle. When the day of tournament arrived, the audience sat so closely together that the field seemed to be fenced in by a solid wall of human souls. At the Archbishop's signal, a single herald came forth and blew a strong trumpet blast. The doors at the opposite ends of the field were opened, and the first two parties of knights entered. They filled the field with their shining armor and other accessories. At the herald's second trumpet blast, the knights leaped toward each other with their spears drawn. The whole earth seemed to groan beneath the straining feet of the knights' Sergei had done very well during that first round. At one point, he had held off two opponents at once. Because of this, he was sure that he was ready for the second round. This one was to involve swords instead of spears. The herald blew his trumpet again, and the knights were off. Almost instantly, Sergei proved himself again. This time, he held off five opponents at once. Maybe here, however, Sergei grew too confident when a huge and powerful knight, Bella Morganus, approached and challenged him. The youthful Sergei laughed and accepted at once, swearing to beat Palamorganus just as he had the others. Sergei hit his rifle in the head with his sword. He hit Palamorganus so hard upon his helmet that Palamorganus' brain swarmed about in his head. Unfortunately, as Palamorganus recovered and grew less dizzy, Sergei realized that his sword blade had snapped into two. He was left with no weapon. Arthur, Sergei cried, quick, rush to our father's tent and get me another sword. That is Sergei fighting his opponent Palamorganus and hitting him in the head. Arthur ran as quickly as he could, but when he arrived at the tent, he found no one and no weapons there. Suddenly, he remembered a certain sword he had seen pushed into an anvil nearby. Surely he thought that sword would suit his brother's purposes very well. The guards were gone when Arthur arrived at the church where Merlin's sword and anvil lay. They too were watching the contest. There was no one to stop him as he hopped up onto the block of marble, bent his body, and drew the sword with wonderful ease. Wrapping the sword in his cloak, he ran to bring it to his brother. When Sergei saw the sword, which of course he recognized, he was so stunned that he stood perfectly still. It was as if someone had magically turned him to stone. Finally, he started. Where, where did you get that sword? Arthur, who was completely innocent, explained, and Sir Kay, who was not so innocent, decided. What he decided was that he would say that he had pulled the sword from the anvil himself. Tell no one about this, he told Arthur, who once again innocently agreed. Sir Kay, however, did want to tell someone. Go get our father, he said. Arthur ran and asked Sir Ector to come quickly, for he had never seen Sir Kay look quite that way. Surely something important has happened, he said. When Sir Ector arrived, he saw that Arthur was right. His eldest son's face was as white as ashes of wood, and his eyes shone brightly. Oh, sire, he said, I must show you something wonderful. Sir Kay took his father by hand and brought him to a table on which he had rewrapped the late Arthur's sword. And late Arthur's sword, sorry, Sir Kay pulled back the cloak to show his father the shining metal. Sir Ector knew the sword at once. How did you get this? He asked his son. Sir Kay stalled. I broke my original sword and then cut this one instead. My son, Ector exclaimed, if you drew this sword out from the anvil, then you are the rightful king of Britain. But if you indeed drew the sword out, you should just as easily be able to push it back in. So you will need to draw it out again with witnesses. Sir Kay was troubled. Who could push a sword into a solid block of iron? He wondered. Why, that would be a miracle. But if his brother, who was nothing special, could pull it out, then surely he, who felt himself to be much more special, could push it in and then pull it back out as well. That is the end of chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoy the story. wish you